Coach, just what your takeaways from
Tactics.
I try to give you a softball to start with. Takeaways from the Club World Cup, and then the motivation for Saturday. How much has to come from within the players themselves?
Well, I thought the Club World Cup was a fantastic event. I actually got to sit in the stands for the River and Inter game, and the place was nuts. I mean, the place was rocking. The Inter fans brought it. You know, obviously Milan is a good, Inter is a good club. The soccer, the red cars, the altercation at the end. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. I mean, the River fans weren't very happy, but I mean, beginning of the game, they're singing, they're loud. They kept going. Their team was down. They kept going. Reminded us of our fans. So in that sense, it was good. You know, obviously the games that we got to play against, Botafogo, Atletico, and PSG. I mean, these experiences will stay with us, hopefully, for a long time in memory, but in the near-term future, hopefully with actual, output on the field, hopefully those games will stick with us.
The attacking, it seemed like all three were attacking in the middle. You tend to attack on the outside of the transition.
Well, we try and play through the middle and the beginning parts of our possession. Yeah, we use a prime assist zone. We haven't had maybe enough shots from distance this year. I mean, you could pick apart how we play, but you could also say there were similarities in the way we played. I mean, best club team in the world likes to press high on goal kicks. We press high on goal kicks. They like to counter press. We like to counter press. They like possession. We like possession. I mean, in general terms, you have to obviously factor in the fact that their players are playing at a higher level, but the ideas are the same. So I was proud of the team and proud of our fans for showing up. It was good.
Brian, I had one more. I think it was Enrique. They said that if Mr. Bryan had the play, that's what he said. He said in the post-game conference, he said, Mr. Bryan had the players that Atletico and PSG had, it would be a different result. How much does that mean to you to get that?
It means a lot. I mean, he was a very nice man. What I tried to do is be a good host, because Seattle has a lot of beautiful things, and they weren't here very long, and, we live in a great part of the world, but we also have nice wineries around here, and I like wine, and so I gave them, each of the three coaches, a Washington wine and a little note saying, welcome to Seattle, and here's a little gift, and Luis was they were all appreciative. But at the end, he came back and had one of his press people bring me a signed Dembele jersey. So it's good. He's a nice man, very humble, very nice man. I enjoyed meeting him and talking to him.
You were able to get Jordan some minutes. Yep. Does that mean that he's 100% back, or is he minutes restriction?
He's going to be on minutes restriction, Jada, but obviously even that short cameo shows you how dangerous he is, and lifted the crowd, lifted the team, so we're happy to have him back.
I know you might not look at still photos too often, but like Hakimi's, we ran a still photo of Steph and Hakimi going after him. I mean, it seemed like your technique, they were right there. What did you think of Steph's performance and just the way that he was right there, but sometimes talent's going to get you, or maybe I don't know how you judge that last goal.
Well, I mean, the last goal, happened again in a transition moment where we have a good chance and we come down, and it started off 3 against 4 and ended up being 4 or 5 against our 6, but we didn't account for the guy on the far post, which I commend the guys for their effort to get back on the play, because that was one of the things we said. But when they do get back, they have to understand that vision is the key. You can't make a good decision unless you see the entire field. And we didn't see that guy lurking at the back post, and the guy made a great pass. Kind of reminded me of that pass earlier in the season where Jesus saw Paul on the back post and we scored. Very similar. So again, the similarities between the two teams are there, and obviously, again, their quality is They're the best club team in the world right now.
Back to injuries. Kim Kee, how's he doing?
That's going to be a work in progress. So he and Yaimar are works in progress. That's a little vague. They're on different timelines. I would say Kim Kee is probably closer than Yaimar, maybe by a week. They're targeting certain games, but I'm not at liberty to say right now because both the players and myself, we're going to say, look, once they're healthy, we're going to ramp them up in training. We're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So we might have to be a little bit more conservative, just make sure nothing bad happens again for the remainder of the year.
And with the Club World Cup over those 3 games, did anything surprise you about the way your players performed in those 3 games?
No. I believe they could put out these types of performances. The effort was there. I knew that was going to be there. The grit, determination, I knew they were going to check that box. The quality that we have, I knew that. The way we played stylistically, I think they played and showed pretty well. I mean, the one area is just that, difference between our levels is consistent technical ability under pressure.
Along those same lines, in those same 3 games, Pedro de la Vega only got 78 minutes, didn't play the PSG game. I was looking back, he only has one 90-minute game all season long. What is it that you're not getting out of your designated player to get more time to be influential on the field?
Well, he's given us a lot. He's given us some good cameos, some good, sub appearances. Competition for spots is tight. You keep bringing up the PSG game. Well, I want to get Danny Leyva on the field. And then you could go one step further and say, okay, you put Georgie on in front of Pedro, but Georgie, he didn't play as many minutes as Pedro. So it might seem unfair, but those are my thoughts. And, he's got to continue to grow because he's made a lot of progress from last year to this year. And when he steps on the field, he just needs to be who he is.
Statistically, he's your most productive player on the wing in all comps. So that's why the question
Statistically?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, chasing the game, it might have seemed like that was the obvious answer. But, obviously that's what I just wanted to know. That makes sense. How about in terms of moving forward and what the team is going to be doing? How can you Ferreira had a moment where maybe he wants back. He's had some moments where, maybe mentally you might need to help him out to get out of that rut. How do you work with that moving forward with a guy like Ferreira?
Well, the extra work, the training, getting their confidence up, It's hard, you talk about when you bring Pedro up, sometimes it's hard. You jump in, you're out, you're in, you're out, finding rhythm. Same with Jesus. I put him up front, I put him out here. He's over here for a few games early in the year. So all of that stuff, goes into it. But the players are strong enough. They're if they're willing to put the work in, the effort in, they're all super talented players. They'll figure it out.
You've got one healthy center back right now. How are you managing that situation?
Carefully.
I mean, it looked like Alex was out there today. I mean, what are you seeing from him?
Well, could be Alex, could be Cody Baker. I know what I have in Cody. Alex was out there just seeing if that looks right. But it's tough. It's tough. We're going to be short-handed. And they've got a big center forward. That's a handful. So, we'll be under it, but I got confidence in whoever I put out there.
This Austin game seems like a pretty big one in terms of being able to take the momentum from, or the degree to which you had momentum coming from Club World Cup.
Sure.
Do you have to do anything special to guard against there being a letdown?
Yeah, of course. We messaged it today. We showed them some good highlights of what they're capable of doing against 3 top-notch opponents, and then the messaging was, this is the new standard. It's a new standard you guys set for this season. And we as coaches are going to hold you to that standard, both as individuals and as a collective. And, we'll keep beating that message into them, and, I'm sure they're going to respond. It's a talented, motivated group.
Brian, on a lighter note, obviously River fans were very loud, and
Yeah.
maybe that comes with history with a club and whatnot, but with your games you had a good attendance and a lot
Yeah.
of it looked like a true Sounders club or hometown environment. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like as a club when you're talking about the city and this is your team kind of thing, do you feel that you saw that enough with the games?
Absolutely. I think we had an advantage. If you look at LAFC, they had to go to 3 different cities. Miami had to travel. We definitely would have had a harder time in a neutral venue playing against PSG or the first game against Botafogo might have been the best example because, man, we were so close and the crowd was behind us and it was just driving the players to try and get the equalizer. So yeah, we were very fortunate to have our home fans behind us.